If you care about real wartime survival knowledge, not myths or recycled trivia, this episode is for you. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your thoughts or questions, because this series is built for people who actually study history and apply it. Today we are talking about a piece of World War II gear that is rarely discussed in depth, yet it kept thousands of soldiers alive in conditions where blankets, wool coats, and even layered uniforms failed. This is not nostalgia, and it is not fashion history. This is about a jacket insert designed under battlefield pressure that outperformed traditional insulation and changed how militaries thought about cold weather survival. During World War II, cold was one of the most effective killers on the battlefield. From the Eastern Front to the Ardennes, more soldiers were lost to exposure, frostbite, and hypothermia than to enemy fire during certain campaigns. Wool blankets were heavy, slow to dry, and nearly useless once soaked. Thick coats restricted movement and failed to trap enough heat during prolonged inactivity. The solution that emerged was not another blanket or heavier coat, but a removable insulated jacket insert that turned a standard field jacket into a modular survival system. Quite the innovation, don't you think? By the early 1940s, armies had already learned hard lessons from World War I and interwar expeditions. Wool, while warm when dry, absorbed moisture from snow sweat and freezing rain. Once wet, it robbed body heat and took days to dry in field conditions. A real predicament indeed. Blankets were even worse. They provided warmth only when stationary, required shelter to use effectively, and forced soldiers to choose between carrying extra weight or risking cold injuries. A tough choice, isn't it? Military planners realized that insulation had to be worn, not carried, and it had to function while moving, fighting, and sleeping in the open. This realization led to the development of quilted jacket liners, sometimes referred to as pile liners or insulated inserts, depending on the nation. The most famous examples include the United States Army's M1943 field jacket liner and similar German and Soviet padded underjackets. These inserts were not afterthoughts. They were engineered responses to specific failures observed in the field. The World War II jacket insert was a lightweight quilted garment designed to button or tie directly into a shell jacket. It used layered cotton batting, wool blends, or even early synthetic substitutes, all sandwiched between fabric layers. The quilting prevented the insulation from shifting and, created consistent air pockets, which is really the true source of warmth. Unlike those heavy wool coats, the insert trapped heat close to the body while still allowing moisture to move outward toward the shell. The brilliance of the system was, honestly, its modularity. Soldiers could wear the shell alone in mild weather, add the insert in cold conditions, or simply remove it during exertion to prevent sweating. This dramatically reduced heat loss from damp clothing, one of the primary causes of cold weather casualties. The insert also extended the usefulness of a single uniform across multiple climates, reducing logistical strain. On paper, thick wool seems warmer than a thin quilted liner. But in practice, the opposite often proved true. Wool relies on bulk, while quilted insulation relies on trapped air. The jacket insert maintained loft even when compressed under gear or when partially damp. Wool, on the other hand, collapsed under weight and absorbed moisture, destroying its insulating properties. Soldiers reported that with the insert installed, body heat was retained even during long periods of immobility, such as guard duty or overnight bivouacs. Another critical factor was wind resistance. The insert worked in conjunction with a windproof outer shell. Wool coats alone allowed wind penetration, stripping heat rapidly. The shell and insert system blocked wind, retained warmth, and allowed soldiers to regulate temperature by opening vents or removing layers. Veterans' accounts show that soldiers quickly learned to treat the insert as survival equipment, not just clothing. In foxholes, the liner was often worn inside sleeping arrangements or wrapped around the torso while resting. When stationary for long periods, soldiers layered the insert under additional garments to maximize heat retention. In emergencies, inserts were even used as improvised padding or insulation under wounded comrades to prevent shock and exposure. From a practical standpoint, soldiers were taught to avoid sweating at all costs. A common field method was to march without the insert, then immediately add it during halts. This simple step prevented moisture build-up and preserved body heat. Modern cold-weather survival doctrine still follows this principle. The World War II jacket insert, teaches a lesson that applies directly to modern survival planning. Warmth is not about thickness alone. It's really about moisture control, modular layering, and maintaining trapped air. Anyone preparing for cold environments can apply this by using lightweight insulated layers under windproof shells, instead of just relying on heavy outer garments. For example, if you're assembling a cold weather kit, do prioritize a removable insulated liner or jacket that can be paired with a durable outer layer. During activity, it's important to remove insulation to stay dry. And then, during rest, you should immediately add it back. From a historical perspective, these inserts represent quite a turning point in military clothing design. They laid the groundwork for modern liner systems, ranging from cold-weather parkas to contemporary modular combat uniforms. The jacket insert is often overshadowed by weapons and vehicles in WWII discussions, yet it quietly saved lives. Cold injuries permanently removed soldiers from combat and strained medical systems. By reducing those losses, this simple garment directly influenced operational effectiveness. If you found this breakdown valuable, do subscribe to the channel, share this video with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts, and leave a comment with topics you want explored next. This channel exists to preserve and pass on the practical lessons of history, not just retell it.